Ladies and gentlemen, we are outside of Replay Video Games in Fairmont, Minnesota, and we have a special video for you guys. We're going to be doing a inside store tour, behind the scenes. Everything's closed. We get some behind the scenes access, I guess. So either way, let's go in, meet the owners, and check out the store. Come on in. I want to see though.
Blooper reel at this point.
I was about to pull, but it says push. So
I may be an idiot, but I'm not stupid.
Ooh. Actually, okay, this is a lot cooler than I thought. This is... Oh, okay. So, before we do the entire walkthrough of the store, I just wanted to point out, not only are they playing our videos in the back, which is super awesome, but look at that, it is a Switch TV. This would be perfect for a game room. We're gonna be meeting the owners. This is
Jenny Duderstadt.
John.
And they are kind enough to let us in today to get some behind the scenes access. And moving forward, we're gonna be asking them how they started this wonderful store. How did you guys end up starting Replay?
This is his dream.
It was a bucket list thing. It was. She'd always ask me what I wanted to do if I could choose. And 2013, I think we talked about it originally.
Yeah.
So I filled out a notebook of what it would take to run a game store. 2018, had the opportunity to rent a building, so from her parents, and used my collection for the opening inventory to start the business.
And I gotta ask though, don't mean to interrupt, but with your personal collection, how many games and consoles did you acquire to get the whole storefront set up? And then was it a pretty tough decision for you to kind of cut the ties with your collection and actually put it up for sale?
It was one of those things where I realized sacrifices had to be made. Going off of price charting, I think there was something like $30,000 worth of merchandise to begin with, which by today's standard would be probably triple that.
With inflation, yeah.
Right. So at the time, it felt like a lot. Compared to what we have now, it wasn't, But yeah, it was tough in the beginning to get rid of stuff. But at the same time, I was doing something I wanted to do, so it was worth the risk-reward kind of thing.
And then would you say with your collection and getting the store open, did the trades and the customers coming in with inventory kind of keep the ball rolling, or was there a period of time where the collection was dwindling and there wasn't a lot of inventory coming in?
Definitely had an influx of trade-ins right off the bat. I didn't know how much to start with as far as how much cash should we keep on hand for trades and all that kind of stuff, because we had people just boxes lined up outside for trade-ins in the beginning.
Yeah, the first day?
Oh, it was nuts.
Yeah.
And so it came down to more we have plenty of stock, but we'd run out of certain things, Mario games or something like that, and that's a continuing thing where people want Pokemon but trade-in wise, it keeps the flow going nice. So the hard part was seeing stuff come in that I wanted to collect over the years. So
yeah.
It's hey, now I can get this in my collection, but I don't have a collection now, so.
So last question, and then we can start getting into the store though, off of what you said. When something would come in that you genuinely wanted, and being a collector and then turning into a reseller in a sense with the store, yep, would you still pull things for your own collection, or did you always make the executive decision that it has to be store inventory? There's some grief there.
Well, he was a collector. I'm not.
Was there anything you ever collected retro game wise? Did John ever inspire you, or was it just always not your cup of tea and it was more John's?
So I started with NES growing up, and it was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out that gave me anger issues. And so that's what I had growing up, and then I didn't have anything until PS3. So that's kind of where my gaming is at. With him, actually I gave him my NES. I had it in box still with the Woolworth sticker. Yeah. It's the first gift I ever gave him.
Her dad had it in the basement ready to recycle.
But
oh jeez, another thrown out story. Right. But at least it was saved.
Yeah.
I wish I knew more with it. I do more of the paperwork and stuff and repairs when it comes to the business, but I wish I did play more gaming and stuff like that. But when it does come to me giggling about that question was, I know he is a collector, and it's easier for me to look at something business-wise sometimes in the beginning to be like, I know you want that.
Yeah, but maybe that's the
know.
perfect like duo where it's like you got the collector or a collector at heart, but at the same time having a business, you need to pay the bills and the overhead. So sometimes making those executive decisions to sell the crazy item that comes in or something that you've always wanted, you know.
There's been stuff that has sat in the back for a little while until I could talk myself into bringing it out. You know,
It just
like,
yeah.
you know, do I
Dog
need to,
meat,
you know?
yeah, dog meat from Fallout's the only thing I collect.
Yeah.
Oh really?
All the dog
Are you a
meats.
big Fallout fan?
I like watching it.
Okay,
Yeah, I haven't
okay.
played it. Like the stuff back there, those are my dogs.
Yeah, I saw a few of those, and I just with you bringing it up was worth the ask. But I guess to touch base though, with because I know we transitioned a little bit, was it hard for you to like make those decisions to not keep, or was there a few items that you can recollect where you're like, I don't care, we gotta keep it, or you know, it's gotta go into the collection, or was it always just kind of like let's keep the store open and running?
Yeah, it usually came down to that, you know, as it came in, you know. Initially, it was really hard to, you know, it's also hard from a business aspect of kind of having a poker face, you know?
Yeah.
Because you want to buy this from somebody, but you don't want to be like, here, just take my money so I can have it kind of thing, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like, typically just harder to find, you know, something like a sealed system in a box would be really hard to like turn on and flip just because, you know, you don't come across that kind of stuff very often, so.
And last question, I promise, and then we can get into the store because they have an awesome store. We have a lot to dive into, but to this day, do you still have a personal collection, or is it just all about the store?
I have very few things left.
Okay.
You know, I have a couple things from when I grew up, the Nintendo she gave me, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for the most part, it's been brought here for. Sometimes it's a display thing, just to.
Keep up on the store.
Right.
Customers probably hound you if it's for sale.
Yeah, and I tell them everything has a price, but it might be ridiculous. So.
Yeah, I feel that way with a lot of my pinballs and things I have. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think at this point we are going to dive into the store. They have a ton of inventory, awesome items, and let's see everything that's in stock. John and I are going to be going through the store. This is pretty much initially when you walk in, and right to your left, they have an old school nostalgic McDonald's kiosk. And we got to ask John though, how did you get this bad boy?
Well, you know, they've remodeled all their McDonald's lately, so they tore down our old building, and everything inside they tried to either sell it or they're going to throw it away. So, got a hold of this, $100. Yeah, right.
I thought you were getting it for free, but you mean $100 is
$100.
crazy, yeah.
It was all GameCubes, and unfortunately GameCubes were gone.
Oh, really?
Controllers were in there, but I spent a week like inside of this thing and taking it completely apart, cleaning it, because it had 20 years of grease and whatever else.
Oh, I couldn't be. I work. McDonald's is my first job, ironically.
Okay,
so
yeah.
I could see the grease. Yeah.
So I still have like the arms and stuff that went originally with it, but I figured I didn't want to do all GameCube. You only have so much space.
Yeah.
You know, we got an Xbox, we got a Sega, we got a Dreamcast.
Because I was curious when we were going around, kind of initially looking at the store, like the Sega Genesis kind of stuff. Like, that's clearly, as you just said, something you implemented? Because I thought it was all like N64, GameCube, like when it was originally at McDonald's, but.
Oh yeah, it was. They had similar ones to this that were N64, and then I think they either upgraded the GameCube.
Okay.
They had ones that, you know, like they just had this and it was like built into the wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or they had the circular display ones. So, but we try to do that just to give, you know, people a chance to try out some different games, or kids that have never played some of the older stuff. Kind of like back here, we got the same kind of setup with a Nintendo and an Atari.
And in the corner too, we can come and look about this section. It's one of my personal favorites because it's very atmospheric. Kind of is a time capsule is a good way to put it. So as we were mentioning, in this section, in my opinion, it's more of the old school. We got the Atari, the Nintendo. It's very atmospheric, but I love the way that John and Jen kind of designed this whole corner. And if you want to come on in, and where did you get this TV from?
There's a gentleman in town who had it, and his kids made him upgrade to a flat screen TV.
Yeah, because this is awesome though.
They asked, you know, if I wanted it, and of course I did, and of course it was in their basement, so.
And yeah, it's hooked up for people to play, which is super cool.
It's real fun to see little kids down here sitting out like that,
it.
playing it just like I used to when I was a kid, you know?
Actually, the audio that's coming through it, actually, that's kind of cool.
Right?
And I said earlier when we weren't recording, I know this is super cheesy, but it literally looks like one of the newest Lego sets that they have, the Nintendo with this literally like same brown old school TV. I think it's super cool. We don't have to sit here and play forever, but I just wanted to show that like it's hooked up for like kids and customers to play. Pretty freaking cool. Now I'm curious with this corner too, with the Atari and the old school. I love the way it looks. And he said he normally has the Atari hooked up as well, so I'm going to assume people could play that.
Yeah.
But how is Atari nowadays? Like, does it still sell, or is it kind of a problematic, like, it has to be a curated collector that's looking for it? Okay.
You know, the games and stuff are cheap enough now where if someone wants to, but I get young kids in here that know more about video games than you ever think they did.
Oh, wow.
You know, and they'll want it just because they want to start collecting.
That's,
you know.
I think that'd be kind of neat. Like you said, like a younger kid coming in and they know everything about these, or a good handful.
And that was when, you know, opening the store, I wanted to have a good representation of gaming from essentially the beginning to today. So even though Atari's not a great seller nowadays, I still want to keep
it makes sense though to have the whole spectrum, and like you said, if there is somebody that is looking for the Atari, there is that option.
Right. Yep.
And then on the back wall, on the adjacent, I'll show the B-roll because that entire side is hand painted. But this side is, as you can see, just a giant poster collage. In my opinion, I love the way it looks. I mean, there's a lot of GTA, PS2, Ratchet and Clank. I like the way it looks. Now, I gotta ask you though, did you want to remove these posters and paint this as well, or were you just kind of keeping it as a collage?
We weren't sure, to begin with. These are a lot of posters that I know a lot of people get mad because they're like, why would you take these to the wall? They're good posters.
Yeah.
These are posters that were not in mint shape to begin with.
I mean, Bully, Metroid. I mean, I found some beat up Nintendo powers myself that, like you said, were not really worth saving, and I stripped the poster, hang it up because I like the way it looks.
Right. And it's something different,
it builds to the atmosphere. I like it. I really do. And then we could just show you a quick glance because I have better shots because the table's there. But John hand painted this entire wall, and are you guys trying to do anything up at the top so far, or?
Yeah, the fire, we didn't get there yet. The clouds and the fireworks at the end.
And the fireworks, yeah, because then in the corner, which I have a better shot, he cubed out like perfectly Mario. And did you just like use a ruler and kind of brick it out, or what's the deal with that?
Yeah, I just measured out by squares.
Yeah. No, I think it's really cool, and I like how they get creative to actually do like the more hand-painted kind of mural for the artwork, and fits the store very, very well. And then on the far left side of the store, when you initially walk in, they have such an amazing big collection of games. Over to the left, what you guys just saw with the old school Atari, it's kind of in a sense working chronological, or at least it looks like it. And I think you said you're very almost like curated, like to have it in kind of pristine order.
My OCD likes to have things alphabetized in order. So PlayStation starts out first, and we go by PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4, and everything's alphabetical.
But it looks great, and if you guys know that have been watching the channel, I'm doing the PlayStation 1 challenge, and I've been having a hard time finding inventory, honestly. Like, I don't know what it is about this system, but the amount they have here, I'm super excited for after the tour to kind of dive in and buy some games. But I just wanted to point that out, that I like seeing that, because I've gone to like half-price books and even other retro game stores, and sometimes their selection for PS1 is like 5 games. Yeah. So it's like, you guys got a good chunk in my opinion. I like it.
Right. And I try to keep, I'm not going to put you look at it, it looks like a lot of games. It's not all sports games. You know what I mean? You got to keep a nice selection of everything. And again, keeping it alphabetized makes it easy for customers to come in if they're looking for something specific, or, you don't have to dig too much. But if you don't see what you're looking for, you can always ask us, because I don't always have everything out either. So.
Another very cool thing about the store, and Jen's taking over to answer these questions, they have a ton of collectibles, comics, vintage, modern toys, you name it, there is a ton, and a lot of them have caught my eye. And I gotta ask though, what kind of made you guys want that to be an asset of the store as well, besides just video games?
Well, we did have our own different collections as well of different toys, and we thought maybe we could bring that, because I know with games and keeping the nostalgia and the eras kind of. So we brought in even stuff that's coming back out. I think Masters was coming out with new stuff again. Then we have older box stuff. But we also have the collectibles that you can get with Fallout and things like that. For example, because we're by Fallout and Halo, just kind of brings more variety to the store. So we have a lot of people that collect different things.
Now with the toys, and I could be wrong, but I'm going to assume maybe games are a little bit more popular, but when it comes to those collectibles, do you find like a certain group or a certain brand that tends to sell better or more people are after, or is it just kind of always a hodgepodge on what somebody's looking for?
There's like the big ones, like Fallout, a lot of Fallout collectors. There is like a lot of just that nostalgia, like just like with the older games, there's a huge following with the vintage toys and things like that. Actually helping out a close friend, family friend of ours that's older with a lot of their toys is what we bring them in. We don't really take them in for trades.
Okay, because that was another question that popped in is, do you get those for trades a lot, or is it just mainly video games?
I mean, we'll get asked that kind of stuff, but if our own's not selling, that's what we want. At least we couldn't lose having our own stuff out there versus taking in other people's. We aren't sure what exactly sells or not, and then if we would have to go online with theirs, it's the like if we went to eBay and all the different fees you have to pay for that. It adds up, and people don't look at that. Just like anybody selling anything online, there's the fees and stuff. You don't just get something and
No, but it makes sense. But like that's kind of another topic though that we were talking about before the camera was rolling, that like not everybody's aware sometimes of like the fees, the overhead, whether it's eBay, whether what you guys are doing with the physical space,
cards, register and everything, there's always a fee with it. There's always something with it, So when we do take trades, and we always have to take accountability with that. With the area and whatnot too, and if there's collectors around here, or if it's something that's going to sit for a long time, we'll always try everything out on our floor first and get it out, so people have around here as the first kind of option too before we go online and do that. So we always look at that, but again, we can't always have inventory sitting so long.
Yeah,
too.
Constantly changing it up, moving it out. We gotta ask Jen now. They have a PlayStation 2 and a GameCube. I'm gonna call them like a kiosk, but it's such a different kiosk that I've never seen and I'm not familiar with. Do you know anything about them, or let alone even the backstory on how you and John ended up getting these for the shop?
Well, we were fortunate enough that people personally knew us, that so if stuff pop up on Facebook Marketplace or anything like that, those people would tag us. And I got tagged one day on something, and I actually had my phone on me, so I checked it out, and it was these two kiosks, and I've never seen anything like it. And of course, I responded right away to who was selling them, which was it. They were in a basement church in Sherburne.
The basement of a church?
Yeah, these people were like...
That's such an odd, location for them.
They were taking it and turning it into a house. And because I asked them to, I'm like, this is weird. So like, I've never seen them and got them and brought them back. And I'm in a kiosk group because of the Xbox 360, doing all the fixing on that thing and seeing the different kiosks. It was just interesting to me, so I was in that group, and so I happened to post this one, and a lot of them haven't seen it before, so even though I used Google Lens everything I could, it took a long time to finally trace back to like these two pictures. They came from Sam Goody. They're like, this is how they had it set up in theirs. That's why it's like, it can't like stand alone. We had to put a bracket back here.
Oh, wow.
They're heavy.
Do you know if I know you got them from the church, but like in a retail sense, was this like a Walmart and Target kind of deal, or do you have any idea from people that may have hit you up off the groups or anything, like where they originated from,
Sam Goody.
Oh, sorry, you did mention, okay, I'm not familiar with Sam Goody.
Okay,
No, okay, sorry. So that's why it went over my head. Okay, explain Sam Goody then. Yes. Sorry, that was just over my head.
No, it's kind of like a Blockbuster and that. It's like the...
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I'm familiar with Blockbuster, but like the Sam Goody God, I know, it dates me. It dates me, okay.
It's okay. So like Sam Goody sold CDs and cassettes.
Okay.
And so it was kind of like one of those stores. I think in town we had like an On Cue, it was called. So it was basically our record stores when it was actually records, not retro. So when they first came out, they wanted to bring out like, I think video games and acquiring with it. I don't know. I've never seen a Sam Goody before, been in one before. But Sam Goody and another place were doing them to have kiosks. So these are what they had in there for kids to play, kind of like we had at Kmart and other places. When I was growing up, we'd have kiosks that my parents would go shop, and I'd be playing Super Nintendo kiosks and things like that. So this is the one these are the two they had in there. I think they had Xbox and Xbox and I don't know the other station that they might have had in there, but I know they at least had Xbox too. But we didn't have that kiosk, or they didn't have that in the basement, so I don't know what Sam Goody this is from. But I mean, it's just a interesting story, and
yeah, and especially pulling it out of a church basement. In my opinion, that's like the last place I would have expected to find two kiosks that I think a lot of collectors would probably consider grails. I mean, GameCube now, and I don't know if it's changed, but GameCube's been hot for a while. Like, the prices have gone up. Lots of people are after that console. And then just me, as everyone knows with the channel, I grew up with the PS2. It's like my favorite. So that's just cool for me because I've like never seen this. So.
And PS2s are really popular around here right now. We can't keep them in, so.
It's a good console. I know, okay, a side note, I know PS2 gets a ton of hate. I don't know why. It's a great console. A lot of people say it's overrated. I don't know if you've heard that, but I read it all the time online or see it in videos that are like, PS2 is overrated. There's so many, and I'm like, it's got a great library. I think it holds up to this day too. Like,
I would like to know, as a I guess, I don't know as much about it.
Because John's the collector, and yeah.
I wish I did, but I like to learn stuff. I just would love somebody to either have where they even came to be. Why would someone think this is overrated? You know, the two different sides of it.
Yeah.
Why it is, why it's not, why they even think that, what's the reasoning, because was it the graphics or what? I don't know. But it's like, you can't really knock the graphics.
I mean, it is like one of the best selling consoles of all time too. So I don't know if it's like people love the GameCube because maybe there was like a lower print run. It was kind of overlooked during its time. And then.
But let's look at the different controllers. Now this would just tear me a little bit because like I have small hands, so that's a lot.
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean?
I know we're still looking at third-party controllers, but I agree with you though that like, I don't know, it's simplistic.
Is that one of the reasons, too, that could be?
I don't know. I never grew up playing the GameCube, and I know I might get grief for this, but like it never appealed to me that much. That's why I just don't really collect it to this day too. But I don't know.
We want to know in the comments.
What controller is better? We're not talking the third party, but just in general, do you guys like the PS2 controller better, or do you like the GameCube?
And these are a kiosk ones, so they're a little beat up. And also, we want to know.
I mean, it makes sense to have these for the kiosk, though, because you don't really want like an OEM controller getting terribly beat up while people are playing. And I just think it's cool because John showed us the other corner of the store that these are still all playable in store. You can start it up. If I could do this with one hand, very tricky. But as you guys can see, I mean, SmackDown's playing. It's all playable for the customers and the kids that walk in. I think that is awesome. And on the same aspect of the kiosk, or in this case, I'd call this more of like a display cabinet, they have a PlayStation 3 one. What's the story behind this? And like, how did you acquire it? Or more information, I guess, on how it's in your store.
Well, a really long time ago, back in the dark days, in retail stores, we had like Kmart and everything like that you could go and buy games. And these are the displays back for PS3 that we acquired. I think off Marketplace as well.
Another Marketplace find?
Yeah, we got it from. The guy was a distributor. Actually, we even got some promo hats, I think, from Duke Nukem and stuff like that. And the guy was really cool. And this one came, I think, out of New Ulm. So I just converted it because, you can put the games in there, but it would go with the nice flow with it. So I just converted it into more of a display case, but still having that nostalgia type thing here. So yeah, it was pretty cool. We just had to kind of put our own lights and, we'd have to go. I called the company actually about the new lock and whatnot. We'd have to get if we wanted to do that, but since we only had one. So yeah, it's just a piece of history to us, so.
Yeah, it's cool. Like I said, I've never seen one, genuinely. This is the first time in person, at least. It's usually like PS1, PS2. Surprisingly, seen a lot of the like World of Nintendo cabinets, which is weird because I know they're expensive, but I've seen a lot of them. You know what I mean? It's like...
It's nice they're still circulating and people do stuff nice around, so.
From the PlayStation cabinet, just up to the top right, we'll have John here taking over to talk about these. There's a robot? Like, what's the story with the robot? Because personally, I love it. It looks like a supersize NES Rob the Robot, but John said it looks like...
from...
was it
Johnny Five?
Short Circuit? Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. But it was a line of robots from the early 80s. That's an Omnibot 2000. But Tommy Toys made it back then. When I first opened it, an older lady had it in her car and wanted to know if I'd buy it. And it wasn't video game related, but I bought it anyway.
I think it fits the atmosphere, regardless of it being, video game oriented or not.
Right.
And then the TVs next to it though too. I mean, was that kind of the same thing? Were those donated, or was that a find of yours? Or
Funny story.
I like it. I like it though.
They're up there right now because I didn't have anywhere else to put them.
Oh, really?
They're old monitors to like Apple computers.
Okay.
Like that. That's a Radio Shack TRS-80, which was kind of like a TI-99.
Is there even any Radio Shack still around, or are they fully out of business? Yeah.
But back in the late 70s, early 80s, they hit that craze of almost like an Atari, but a computer at the same time. So you could do basic programming.
Yeah.
Also play games. So the Radio Shack did their own, and yeah, there's a TI-99 from Texas
A
Instruments.
TI-99.
Yeah, Texas Instruments did it too. So
Let's take off our.
basically, it's just a little computer. But you can also play games, cartridges in here.
Oh, that's cool. So I don't know, I guess I don't know much about PC. That's not my cup of tea, but I'm thinking of Commodore 64. Is this kind of like a competitor, or was this a precursor?
It would
Or
have been a precursor,
Okay.
actually. And then down the lines, I'm sure Commodore took over that.
took some inspiration, or just kind of did their own thing with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of neat. I don't think I've ever seen one of these. And Texas Instruments, even isn't that still today, the calculators and all that? Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of neat.
So that's what those are. And then there's the Odyssey.
Like I said, I know you just said you tossed up the TVs, but I think with the Odyssey, the robots, I like it. Okay, I know y'all are probably laughing because you're like, we just put the TVs up there, but I think it looks cool.
I love it up there, but it's just funny that's the only reason they're up there. But most people watching probably know the original home console. The very first one, 1972, was the Magnavox Odyssey.
And it's just Pong, right, on that thing?
Essentially, but they had sheets you'd put over your TV screen.
Oh, overlays on it? Yeah.
So you'd play tennis or whatever it was. But a guy brought in I don't have the Odyssey. It's on my bucket list.
But this actually.
But this is the shooting gallery gun, which is kind of neat because nowadays you'd never see a toy like this.
This is the first time I've ever seen it.
Nowadays it'd be orange and all that fun stuff, but
I know this straight up. Besides the cord, it almost looks like we just went to a gun dealership here.
Right.
It's kind of cool.
As a kid, I would have probably cut the cord off this and had it as a gun.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them, if that happened to it. This totally beats playing with a stick gun.
Oh, for sure. But yeah, just like I said, a neat piece of history that you don't see very often. Especially in the box and everything.
Yeah, no, that's like I said. I genuinely like this kind of stuff, and I don't know if the viewers here, if you guys have ever seen this before, but this is kind of the stuff I like to showcase too, especially as we're going through and doing the tour, because I've had a boxed Odyssey before in my collection back in college. I know you guys might not know about that. That was probably 7 years ago on a different channel. I think I've referenced that video before because I have a video lingering on YouTube of my old collection. But yeah, I didn't know that there was these types of accessories for it, so I find this stuff super neat. Oh
yeah, this would go in the category of getting something in that I'm not sure I want to sell.
Now, have you had any offers on it? If people saw it kind of up in the corner and they're like, "Hey, is that for sale?" Or is it usually just kind of tucked back in most people?
Had more offers on the robot than anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I agree.
If you're a real collector, you probably don't. Most of the people don't know what that is. So
John just pulled out this Xbox controller and said, "What looks different about this?" Honestly, initially, I never grew up playing the Xbox. I was a PS2 guy. But my first guess right off the bat, though, is it the logo in the middle or is it something different? Because I don't remember it being so big and circular, but I could be wrong.
This is what you get when you buy one.
So this is the standard?
Yep.
So
size is slightly different in the logo.
Is this just a variant, or is this a prototype?
If you watch the video with Bill Gates and The Rock when they introduced the Xbox back in 2000,
yeah,
this is the controller. Not this one. This is like a development controller, basically. Developers had these controllers before they actually released them to the public.
Do you know how many of these were released for the developers, or is that kind of an unknown?
It's an unknown. Price is unknown. I had to do a lot of research on it. It's hard to find much of anything.
Well, I guess if you guys that are watching know anything about this besides what John's saying, let us know down below in the comments. That's kind of interesting. Never seen this.
I think they'd have a better version.
Yeah, I can find a picture too. I can send you the link to this.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll overlay the link though, but yeah. 2001, Bill Gates showing off the Xbox.
For the first time, let me now unveil Xbox.
And right below where you guys were just looking at the Odyssey gun is these display cases filled with some gems and a little bit of a teaser for the PlayStation Challenge. I have my eye on one of them at least in there, but when it comes to the display case and the higher expensive games and the consoles, I mean, how do you like to go about that, though? Is it usually like a limited selection where you have to put what's out, or do you keep a back stock of more expensive games in the back so every week or two you kind of switch it up? Or
I do like to rotate stuff just so it stays fresh.
Okay.
Obviously, if it sits here for a while, it'll end up going online. Being in a small town, you know, we're limited on collectors when it comes to the more higher end games. But you know, as far as consoles, we got back stock and all that. But I like to represent one of each out here that we have at the time. But yeah, it's got our handhelds. It's got some odds and ends in there, and the more expensive games.
now with the display cases, what is the most expensive item that you guys have either sold or had a customer do like a trade-in, walk it into the store? If anything that can, come to mind off of that.
That is a good question.
I'm just curious if someone walked in with a little Samson, or you know what I mean, just kind of like some obscurity, like where you go, we're in such a small town, how is this walking into my store right now?
What were those 3 Nintendo games we got in? There's 3 NES games came in.
Yeah, the one with the box with the tail or the whatever thing was. Mario 3.
Oh yeah, we had the Mario Bros 3 with the Bros on the left, right?
Yep, there's the Left Bros variant of it.
Box,
Yep.
all of that. And
Now-
that's not super rare or anything, but
I mean, that's still, yeah.
yeah. Felix the Cat NES, complete in box.
I don't think I've actually ever heard of that title, yeah.
And man, the guy had like 4 games. But yeah, that was probably one of the bigger ones. I mean, he had 4 games and the value was, in the hundreds.
Yeah.
Obviously. So, but I mean, I had a gal come in when I was actually really sick at the time, and they called me because she had a whole tub and it was Sega CDs with games, complete, all that stuff, and trying to hook that up to the Genesis plus a 32X,
Yeah.
When you get like a collection like that in, but as far as rare games, we've had a lot of the miscellaneous ones. I haven't had like Rule Rose, but we've had those Sirens, Silent Hills, Resident Evils, that kind of stuff. And then it's just been real hit and miss with games, odds and ends. A lot of times it's someone that's cleaning out an attic or a garage and they don't know what they have, kind of thing, and that gets brought in.
And as we're finishing up here, this is one of the last sections. John pulled this from a tote in the back, and let me tell you, it is some great stuff. Tell us a little bit more about these items, because we have, is a C and B or CIB, or is it sealed?
It's okay. Nintendo didn't tape them shut back then, so it's brand new. It's never been taken out and used. Same thing with the Nintendo 64. It came from one personal collection.
Okay.
I bought the plastic boxes to put.
I was gonna say this wasn't your personal collection, was it? Okay.
But again, that comes down to this was bought brand new and sat in a cupboard back in 1995, and it was just taken out last year when they moved. So again, you just don't see that stuff very often.
I mean, yeah, this Virtual Boy, finding them loose in general is already hard, but like the box, I'd say is pristine for its age. I mean, I know there's always factors, but you got to think, like I said, the age, and it's cardboard, it's flimsy, easily damaged. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, and then 64 is the same way. It's just, even the corners and the edges, are, aside from probably
like crisp
on the shelf.
Yeah.
And bought and taken home, but again, it just got sat in a shelf because you can usually see the creases, when they open it. But she's still wrapped up in there. Again, this is stuff where it's kind of set aside just because I know the gentleman who sold this to me too, so it's tough to get rid of some stuff,
Yeah.
But he would buy a lot of different, especially if it was like clearance stuff. So you got Panic Bomber.
And this is sealed. Yeah.
Still got the hang tab on there.
I mean, yeah, for all of you Virtual Boy fans, as John was saying, Panic Bomber sealed, still has the hang tab. I know the camera's struggling with the glare right now, but we'll get some better shots. This is beautiful. It's like, I don't even feel like I should be touching it right now, to be honest. I just wanted to show it, but yeah, you just don't see that.
That's how I felt when he brought the stuff in. It's like,
is that, sealed perfect dark too. And I mean, the box is beautiful.
Yep. even little things. It doesn't seem like much, but hey, it's a memory card, you know.
I mean, but
Still in the box,
yeah, let's
you know.
be real though. How often are you gonna find a sealed N64 memory card?
Right.
Like, probably not gonna happen.
A new AC adapter for the Virtual Boy, again, brand new in the box. Again, it's tough with that kind of stuff because Nintendo didn't tape seal it shut. So
Yeah.
it's harder to sell this stuff because people will argue with you then.
Whether it's actually new, whether it's
Right,
open.
right.
Yeah.
So, and you can't prove it, kind of thing. So the quality would judge itself on like the Virtual Boy and stuff. But,
Yeah. So as we're wrapping up the tour, there's one last thing that you just quickly wanted to talk about because this is a big business investment for the viewers that have no idea, but the disc repair, and is this a service that you guys offer for customers then?
Yep. And it does everything from CDs to DVDs, all the games, GameCube, that kind of stuff. It's an Eco Pro 2. It's been extremely reliable since I've had it for about a year now. So I used to keep spindles of games that were not working, and I've saved literally hundreds of games with this machine. So.
I mean, I've got to say the amount of games that have been saved with it is probably astronomical. Yeah.
For sure. So I hate throwing stuff away, especially. You saw the replay sign up there, their discs.
Yeah.
That
was a creative way to use the disc. Yeah.
But try to save everything we can. So this thing is worth its weight in gold to me as a gamer. So
I mean, if you're in Fairmont, Minnesota, or if you're anywhere nearby, I mean, just like John was saying, come on in and get your disc repaired. Save a scratched disc because it's not easy unless you have the business investment or the capital to buy one of them. So just want to say a big thank you guys to watching, and also a big thank you to Jen and John for inviting me into the store on their day off to do a tour. And it was a pleasure. I mean, thank you guys genuinely. And if you want to find them, I know a lot of you viewers are not from Minnesota. You guys, I believe, have Facebook and website. Any website or just Facebook?
there's a website out there that hasn't been updated in a while.
Okay.
Most of our stuff too.
Oh, it'll be on the screen. I'll provide the Facebook phone number, and then if you guys want, do you guys sell on eBay or online, or any way that they can call you to maybe order something, or is it just usually a local sale?
No, we'll give you the card there. It's got the phone number on there. It's
We
got our hours.
do. We do. If you want to give us a call and you're not from here, if we have something, we do ship. We do everything we can do through PayPal or Square.
And on eBay, it's just Replay Video Games. You'll find it. So it's got the logo.
Yeah. Picture of Delilah, I think, and our dog, our Goldens with the backs.
Well, like I said, if the viewers see something in today's tour and if they wanted to reach out, I just hope that they can at least support you guys. And once again, it was a pleasure, and thank you for having me. And
Well, thanks for coming in.
otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed the video. We will see you all in the next one.